doesn't count us in like that's the one thing I miss from Riverside is it would count you in. But anyway. So, are we ready? Any questions? Speak now, forever hold your peace.
Which is ironic.
No, I think we're...
Okay, I got a few questions from the audience. We can do those during the show, though.
Mark's. I can see the wheels turning. Mark, what are you thinking?
Smoke's pouring out.
I have a jet flying over, so it's just
You're thinking about that.
So, well, while he's finding some traction to get the tires spinning again, so we'll just clear things up, and here we go.
You're watching Diecast Breakdown with Chuck Ellis, David Johns, and Mark McHotwheel. So sit back, strap in, and hang on. The breakdown starts now.
Hey there, folks. Chuck here, and welcome to Diecast Breakdown. I am joined by my awesome co-hosts, Mr. David Johns.
Oh, thank you, Chuck. Hello, everybody.
And Mr. Mark
Thank you as well, Chuck. Thank you so much.
It's like every week we get a new last name for you.
Keep things exciting.
Mark is in the wilderness with his last name. He's got to find that perfect one. Well, we're glad, whatever your name is, that you're joining us today, and we want to give a special welcome to our executive producer level patrons. Those are the patrons that really keep the show going along with everybody else, but they're chipping in a little bit extra, so they get a special greeting at the top of the show. So special thanks to Video Geek Productions, Donald Rashik, First and 64th Customs, and our dear friend Twice Diecast, sitting across from me just a few hundred miles away in Alabama. Thank you all so much, and be sure to click the join link down below if you want to support the show, or visit us at diecastbreakdown.com. You'll find links to our merch and our Patreon and all that good stuff. And don't forget, there's a new merch store right down below this video if you're watching here on YouTube. Now for the stuff that you really came here for. We are joined once again by Chad Reid from Round 2. Chad is basically the guy that you see launching all that new stuff over on their awesome YouTube channel, their Instagram. He's running that social media. He is the point person. If you reach out, you're probably touching Chad. So with that in mind, let's all touch Chad and say, welcome to the show. Hey, Chad, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me, guys.
So, Chad, we talked last time about your journey to Round 2 and some of the really cool stuff that you've gotten to do there, including turning your 24 Hours of Lemons car into a Johnny Lightning Honda Civic. For those who don't know, the Honda Civic that has the lovely leopard print on it in
Purple.
Johnny Lightning. I think it's, well, the A version is purple. There's another version that is not purple, and that's Parallel Universe Chad's Lemons vehicle.
The triple pink.
Yes, the triple pink. And so Chad is in the elite group of Diecast Breakdown visitors who have had their vehicles immortalized in Diecast. Since then, we've had Mike and Tony on, and we had a great time chatting with them as well. So, Round 2 is really stirring things up in a big way. And we're going to talk a lot more about that as the show goes on. But first, man, how you doing? You've got a lot going on from what I've seen.
Yeah, I'm doing good. I'm very busy. But yeah. It's exciting. We've been doing a lot over there. And so in tandem, I've been doing a lot. So
So how long have you been with Round 2 now?
9 years, I think.
Wow, that is fantastic.
Yeah.
So they must be doing something right.
I guess so. Yeah, it doesn't seem like it's been that long, but it's been a while.
I just hope it's not like
in your life.
Office Space, Milton, where just he shows up, but they don't pay him.
Chad, are you in the basement, Chad?
Yeah, I'm in storage room B.
I was told that I could listen to my music.
Yeah, when I shop from the warehouse, that's usually where they just stuck me.
That's where your desk is.
Take care of the cockroaches down in the basement.
Do people ever ask you if the blue Mustang is yours? Because it always kind of seems like it's you pulling up to the office space for the video.
I have gotten. There are people sometimes who call into the Auto World store Round 2, and they're like, "Oh, is that Chad's Mustang?" Or they'll say in the comments, and I'm like, "No, it's not. It's not my Mustang." We're
you've
kind of
got-
going for the Mustang was making the delivery and I was receiving the delivery.
Yeah, okay.
It's, everybody's like, oh yeah, is that your Mustang? So
And-
just did a 118 finally that looks like that Mustang because there was a lot of people wanting the intro car too.
I was just gonna say you did the Brown 2 Mustang, so that's fun. Another immortalized vehicle, and we're
Yeah.
gonna be talking a bit about the 1/18th scale stuff a little bit later. But before we do that, you have your own project car that you're working on, right?
I do, yeah.
Yeah, let's get an update on that.
Well, like most project cars, the update is not much farther than it was when I talked to you guys about a year ago. I have a 72 Datsun 240Z. So I'm working on, right now it's a bunch of metal work, and redoing a lot of that so I can start mocking up the engine, but it's getting a Skyline RB25 engine swapped into it, a little bigger of a turbo 6-speed, manual transmission. And I've just been collecting parts. So I just recently finally bought seats. So I was happy about that. That was
That's
a big,
exciting.
yeah, light a fire under you kind of
Yeah.
purchase, you know.
I
you-
can
you
sit
set
in
'em
it
the car.
now. Yeah,
Yeah.
it makes it
I'm
feel
like,
a lot
"There's
more
no
real.
carpet, but I can set them in there. And
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, I would just use milk cartons personally.
Yeah, I've been there. Yeah, my Valiant
Yeah, it
was on.
adds to
I had
it.
milk crates for a while. Does Johnny Lightning have a 240? Cass, I know they got a 280.
No, we don't have a 240.
I was going to say, there's your next
any of our
project in
brands.
progress.
Yeah.
Release.
I would well, we do. We have a slot car. We have a 240Z.
Oh, that's right.
Auto World slot car. That's a newer tooling. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
So since we're talking about that, let's give everybody a quick refresher. We talk a lot about specifically Auto World, Johnny Lightning, and we talk a little bit about Racing Champions, but you got a whole fleet of brands under the Round 2 flag. So let's run through them real quick and get a little brief on what each one is.
yeah, I think we've even added a brand since you guys have been. Yeah, so we've got in Diecast, of course, Auto World with the 118 scale and the 164 scale stuff. We've got Johnny Lightning that we produce, Racing Champions, which we produce. And that's it in Diecast. But then we also have under Auto World, we do slot cars in HO scale. We do the plastic model kits under AMT, MPC, and Polar Lights. And then we have a lot of sci-fi and pop culture licensing as well. So we do Star Wars ships, Star Trek ships, on top of all the vehicular stuff. We also do vehicles for model railroading under Classic Metalworks or the Mini Metals line. And we just recently, we have a brand called Big Country Toys now, which makes like vehicles and play sets that are like farm and ranch style that are more oriented towards kids. So
yeah, we did. We actually just covered that on our last Diecast Live because that caught my attention. I like that 65 Suburban you got on.
That was really cool. I like how you led with that on the latest update video because that's a whole genre that there's a lot of crossover there for especially folks around here, country folks.
It's a pretty cool kind of. They kind of had an existing following, and we thought it would be cool to bring them into Round 2 family a little bit by doing that Auto World 6-car set with the Big Country Toys. So it's kind of like how we do our custom and premium cars, or our hobby exclusives. But we use Big Country Toys and then some of their branding and licensing to do like a really cool Auto World set. So it's got Mossy Oak licensing, Polaris licensing. There's 4-6's Ranch and some other, I think Texaco, some other kind of farm and ranch brands. So it's fun. We don't do that as much in Auto World is branch out and do more custom stuff. So it's nice to get like a whole 6-car set that's a little different than the usual stock versions.
Yeah, and that's a good point because, like David said, like there's this whole world of 164 scale farm collectors and farm vehicle. I won't say toys, but collectibles. Like and Ertl was really kind of big into that. I remember back in the 80s, there were a lot of Ertl farm sets that were in 164 scale, and they had like a house kit and stuff, and some of those are quite collectible now. And so that's really interesting. And I kind of wanted to talk to you about that crossover. And I've recently was at Ollie's, and Ollie's had a whole bunch of Johnny Lightning. Everybody on the Facebook groups, like every now and then some store somewhere releases their old stock of round 2 stuff, and it ends up at Ollie's, and it's all over the Facebook groups. People go nuts because it's an opportunity to pick up some really awesome cars really cheap. And it was interesting because I actually got to dip my toe back into Racing Champions mints because I hadn't seen them in a while. And I picked up, this must be an older one, but it was a Dodge Daytona Big Willie Robinson Racing Champions in 1/64th scale, and I thought that was really cool. And I thought it was the old Racing Champions casting, and I realized it's not. It's the old Ertl American Muscle casting, which is a really, really underrated casting. Like those old American Muscle ones, they've got detailed plastic pieces underneath the chassis, like individual exhaust pipes. They got opening trunks, which almost nothing has. And just some of the like most outstandingly detailed 1/64 scales, especially when it comes to American muscle car stuff. So can you tell me a little bit about like how that works? Because I noticed that, and then I noticed that there's also, I think it's a it's a Buick Regal T-Type that is actually a Johnny Lightning casting under the Racing Champions brand. And I'm just kind of curious, what's going on with Racing Champions lately? Like that always kind of feels like the also ran of 1/64 for round 2. Like what's happening with that brand? I'm just so curious about it.
Yeah, we do. So for the Racing Champions line, I think even, Tommy or RC2 did that T-Type Johnny Lightning crossover, back then. I'm not sure, with the American Muscle casting, I think Tony probably, utilized that one because it has the additional parts and pieces. And I know a lot of the Racing Champions Mint cars have those additional pieces. Sure. Which usually, I think they're like $1 more or something. I know they're a little more expensive to produce because of the extra parts. So that's probably was the best fit for a casting that had all those extra pieces in it. But yeah, we don't do as many releases of Racing Champions mints just because we don't quite have as extensive of a tooling bank. And we have a lot of, series that are picked up by mass, for Johnny Lightning and for Auto World. And those are really good sellers, but we do like the Racing Champions mint line a lot. So we try to put out stuff for that when we can as well.
Yeah. I think that's definitely one that people shouldn't be sleeping on. Like definitely go look at those because like there was that one and I got the 67 Chevelle that's on the Racing Champions line. It was another famous muscle car and just gorgeous castings. Absolutely gorgeous. Lensed headlamps, opening trunks.
Was that the Red Alert Chevelle?
No, it was a black one. I want to say it was like a Mr. something, Mr. Muscle or Mr. something. Yeah. Okay. But, I don't have the car in front of me, but it was really cool because I had just recently discovered the old American Muscle 1/64s. I picked up a few used Mustangs and, Cougars. And I was like, wait, the trunk's open. This is wild. And then I flipped them over and looked at the chassis and I'm like, holy cow, this thing is like it's like you shrunk a 1/18th scale model kit down to 1/64. Like the proportions are really great on them. So anyway, just a word to the wise for our friends at home that are watching and listening, give the Racing Champions mints a second look because I feel like we never talk about them. And there's a lot of really good opportunity there. And they had a bit of a bad reputation because of what they were in the 90s. They had some struggles early on with casting accuracy and licensing and stuff, but it's a completely different thing now.
Yeah, it's a great line. I know they really, I know that Tony likes it a lot for all the extra detail and stuff that's in it. And,
I'm sure.
Yeah. It's separate pieces.
We'll be back with more Diecast Breakdown after this word from our sponsors.
What up, guys? Your boy Big A here. This message is to encourage everyone in the Diecast community to participate in D-Dog, aka Diecast Day of Giving. I know I'm in. Are you in?
Here's this week's small channel shoutout.
Elevation Diecast Racing.
If you have a favorite Diecast channel with less than 700 subscribers and you'd like to see them highlighted on a future episode, email us at diecastbreakdown@gmail.com. The Diecast Media Network store is here. Wear your passion with pride, featuring designs from Diecast Breakdown, Flying Valiant builds, plus unique designs inspired by diecast culture from Justin Ellis. Visit tpublic.com/Diecast Media Network now.
What's up, guys? This is Derek from Honest Diecast, and you know I'm going to be participating in D-Dog 23. That's Diecast Day of Giving. I encourage you to join. Join for the cause.
And now back to Diecast Breakdown.
You know, guys, I'm glad we ran through the list of the brands at the beginning, because unless you watch the last episode, you don't realize how wide the scope of products that Round 2 offers collectors of all diecasts. Chad, if you had some stuff, you know, if for our 164 fans that never delve into a larger scale, I think you might have a couple things you want to show tonight, and I'd love to see some really amazing 1/18 scale to see what you're getting with that difference in size.
Yeah, I talked to Tony today and said I was coming on here and we wanted to talk a little bit 1/18. So he gave me a couple things where we've actually been working on, you talk about some of the older Ertl tooling. We've been updating some of that and making some of that a little bit better. So one example I brought is this 1970 Chevelle. And
it looks weighty.
Yeah, it's heavy. I mean, it's definitely heavy. This one has opening trunk,
with a spare tire in the back.
Yeah, some have the opening trunk, some don't. They all have opening doors, that detailed interior, like the red interior on this one, and then the opening hood, of course.
That's such a cool contrast with the red interior and the black and white.
Yeah, I always like that in the hood.
Is there any NOS option add-ons or like something like road flares just in case you break down?
We do have a 350Z that had a nitrous tank in it, so we could do it as an OEM version. But what's cool about this one, so Tony went through. Let me try to get it so it'll focus in on here. But Tony went through and actually the grill and the bumper is fully retooled. The older Ertl version of it, the bumper was kind of chunky. It stuck out a little too far. Mm-hmm. And so we kind of retooled that whole section to make a good, or a better looking 1970 Chevelle. So, that's, if you're like a muscle car guy, this line is really good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I like under the hood, you can see all the ridges under there and
it's
very detailed. Yeah.
Like the
reinforcement over there.
This model actually even has, I don't know if you saw that the hinges are pretty cool on it too. They're like,
oh yeah, they're the big old,
a little more
big old spring hinges.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about right there.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Take note, Anthony Schmidt.
Look at it.
Look at it, sir.
It'll be in my next video because I think we just got the production sample of it. One other one, just an example of a good, a cool, like, this is more of a pony car, I guess, than a muscle car, but we've got the 77 Firebird Formula that's coming out. And again, cool. Has like great red interior. What we did with this one is it's all new hood. Mm-hmm. The other Ertl one, these scoops, they didn't follow the lines of the hood. They were kind of straight across and they just weren't correct. So, Tony went through and had a whole new hood made to like make this. So we felt like it was at the level of what we've been doing for our 1/18 scale line. And then lastly, for 1/18, I got one more. This is a pretty big one. We've been doing a lot of the Dodge trucks, like we did the 1980, but we do like the Warlock. This is a tour truck, but we actually tooled a whole different.
I love that
line bed is all new. So this was only ever released as a like step side version. So this will be the first release with the new bed on it.
Did we just see 3 upcoming new releases? Is that what you're telling us?
That's it.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I'm really excited about that one because I have a 77 long bed. So, that's actually really close to my truck. So I might have to.
I think you were, maybe you mentioned that you wanted us to do like a long bed.
Yeah, do the 10 grails, man. You do a long bed version of that one. I'll buy several.
He'll buy all of them.
Yeah, I'll buy all of them. I'll be the one guy that buys long bed pickup trucks.
Yeah.
I know we talked about that. I think we talked about that on a previous episode. Why we do the short beds are so much more popular. It might have been you or Tony.
Yeah, I think we did talk about it a little bit with the square body, and people have asked for a long bed version,
Sure,
which would be cool to do. But short bed, if you're switching them like we did that new bed for that. Obviously, if we did it long bed, we'd have to do a whole new chassis as well.
Of course, yeah, exactly.
Hey,
and it's so much longer too. Like you need a completely different packaging, set up too, because that basically is adding like an extra 15% onto the length of the vehicle. Yeah. But yeah, that's all. I might have to do a short bed version of I got this old kind of patinaed rat rod truck that I use just for hauling stuff around. It's an Oklahoma truck from a construction company. It's got this really cool patina on the top of the hood. We just had Anthony Schmidt on. We were talking a little bit about him before the show and all the amazing stuff he's doing. I know he's got a 2024 calendar coming out, but yeah, folks who are doing like the really cool scenes and dioramas and photographs, like the hood and getting the vents correct and getting the proportions on the bumpers properly done are really the stuff that stands out both on the shelf and in photographs. So, it's really cool that you guys are not just releasing new stuff, but going back and fixing the old stuff, making it better. And, cause like I mentioned earlier, the world of both 118 and 164 scale. I just had a friend that was getting rid of a large amount of, his vehicles. That's where I got some of my Erdl stuff from. And, we were looking at this old 118th scale casting from the early 90s of a 1970 Boss Mustang and how much better the newer ones are than, what they had then. And of course, a lot of that has to do with computers and stuff like that. And we actually had a question from one of our viewers. JC wanted to know, when you re-release these things, are you using original molds from the original release? I think he means the original companies that released the products, or do you remake when you retool something? Do you start from scratch and just kind of go off the original drawings and plans, or make something? I think this would be especially relevant to like the plastic kits. Like when that retooling process happens, I think that's what he wants to know, is how that's done.
So yeah, the answer is both. So, in certain instances, especially with plastic model kits, with the 118 scale, it's usually we will use the existing tooling for the diecast stuff, and then do like parts and pieces to make it better or fix where we thought were some flaws in the past or could be done better. For the plastic model kits, we'll go through and see what we have. So sometimes it'll be like we'll see what's wrong with the tool. Does it have too much flashing? And is it the whole tool that needs to be thrown away? Or do we need to redo a body? Do we need to redo components? So, we've done several things. Like with we did our El Camino camper kit that just came out. For that, we retooled the clear parts for the camper glass because that tooling, wasn't viable anymore for the clear parts. But the rest of it was still fine, as far as the camper and everything went. So it just made sense to bring it back out, to retool those portions to bring it back out. But with a lot of our other new kits that we put out this year, there's the Chevy kits, the C1500 and the C3500 kit. For those, for I think our Coronet, and several others, it's all new tooling. So we might have started kind of how the original was as a base point, but just to like take measurements or like kind of the way it went together, and then everything was completely retooled from scratch and made better. So, the guy that's been working on a lot of the automotive tooling, Steve Goldman, he's one of our big model kit guys. He really knows his models as well. Him and John Grexula also are. They know all the old AMT tools. It's wild. They're like a library. Sure. But he'll go through, work on it, and then find areas where we can make it better. So make parts fit better. Maybe we do things like clear pieces and have clear lenses for the headlights, whereas before they would have just been molded and then you would paint them. silver or something, we might do things like that. And then there's cases where it's something that's completely that's retooled. If it's like a newer vehicle, like with our Bronco, that's all obviously completely done from scratch. So we started with the CAD files directly from Ford and used those to then start the whole process of how do you make that into a model kit. So long-winded answer is it really depends on the circumstance, but we do it in every different way you could think of.
I'm glad you brought up the El Camino kit because, and I think that was part of the problem was that, back in the 90s and early aughts, like that whole kind of genre started to die off. And it was because these kits had been around for so long and they had been trimmed and stamped to death and pieces had been left off. And that El Camino kit was a classic headache and heartbreak for me. Like I remember getting that kit and opening it up and the old kit had a complete camper in it and they had stopped offering it with the camper. It wasn't on the box. And then you open it up and you go, oh, there's parts for a camper in here. That's really cool. And it would only be like 2 parts of the camper. Like it was like for the 2 sides or the front and the back. And I was like, why would they do that? Why would they just give you part of a camper? And it's so cool that you brought that back and resurrected that because I actually then, of course, had to go back to eBay and buy one of the old kits to get the actual complete kit. So it's so cool, like you said, that you're bringing them back and adding pieces and still giving them that old school box art feel, even though, a lot of people don't know this. Some of that box art has been updated as well.
Yeah, so that's another thing we do. Sometimes we'll, if we really want it to look like the original, we'll take like a scan and scan it in and then rebuild it. But another thing that we do is we create box art that is in the same style as how AMT did it. So a lot of it, sometimes it's done digitally, but sometimes when we really want the old stuff, we'll actually have hand paintings done.
That's really cool.
Of the cars. We did that with our latest release for the Datsun 280ZX. We had, his name is Brad, actually. We hire him third party, but we also have people in house who can paint artwork. Jamie Hood painted some of our, Star Wars kits, by hand. But yeah, we'll do that. That's the way they did it back in the day, was an actual hand painted thing. And we have some amazing designers, but anybody knows, like, you can't fake brush strokes on a computer. Like, it's not the same way as doing it by hand. So, we all have always felt that that's a big part of the history of modeling is the box art, and the old school AMT box art is so awesome. We like to kind of bring that, still, even when it's a new kit, bring that feeling of vintage box art. 'Cause it's a whole vibe, for lack of a better word, when to really see that old art. We have another kit that we're bringing out. That's the Dodge Demon MPC kit. That was only released once by MPC. And they actually, I think for the box art, they just used a photo from an ad, like a Demon ad. They only released that kit one time. And I think if you go on eBay now, those kits are hundreds of dollars.
Yeah.
And the tooling was lost. It might have been, I can't remember exactly if MPC changed the tooling to make something else. So they couldn't make the Demon again, but, now we're bringing that back. The tooling's all completely new, but we have some new box art. We'll be showing that at New York Toy Fair. But yeah, there's actually new box art that's in that vintage style. And even that original kit didn't have that painted kind of, box art to it. So it's a lot of fun seeing what they come up with, and almost, it's just kind of on a whole other level doing the hand painting and stuff with the model kits compared to even some of the stuff that we do in the diecast.
Now, if you ever need anyone to do like some water coloring, I'm pretty good at it.
Yeah, definitely. Well,
it may not be everyone's cup of tea, but I'm very artistic. It does
work with water,
right?
With your fingers.
Yeah. It's finger paint,
finger painting, color by number type of deal.
It'd be great for maybe one of our snap kits or something. Kind of neat.
So that's on his level. I put out some feelers and asked our viewers and listeners if they had any questions, and Xavier, who has a YouTube channel all his own called Diecast Show Customs. He's a great customizer, and he's actually one of these guys that still races Johnny Lightnings competitively. Has all these tips and tricks about,
and
the graphite.
Yeah, exactly. So he sent me a photo of one of the old Johnny Lightning wheel kits with genuine Johnny Lightning racing wheels, and he wanted to know, is there any chance that something like that would be coming back in the near future, because he's running out of them and he wants more.
We don't have a plan right now for Johnny Lightning wheel kit. I know for like customizers, switching between like the rubber tires and the hard tires on Johnny Lightning is a little more involved. I think you got to drill the chassis apart to switch those, as compared to like our rubber Johnny Lightning ones. You can kind of just pop them off and pop them back on.
Right.
But I know that we actually do have another club called the Lincoln Johnny Lightning Race Club that's out of Rhode Island.
Mm-hmm.
They also do gravity racing, and so we've done some releases here and there. Usually in Street Freaks, we'll put some hard tire, some Racer's Edge stuff in there, or throw it in from time to time. Most collectors will prefer the rubber tires, but
sure,
we still like to throw those in for the racers as well. And actually, I don't know if you guys remember, we did the Johnny Lightning 50th anniversary release a few years back. We actually had 2 variations of chases for that, where 20% of them had Racer's Edge tires for racing as a callback to the old Johnny Lightning. And then they also had the White Lightning chase cars. So if you found a White Lightning with Edge tires,
double
it was
chase.
like super, super rare. Yeah. But no, it's a good idea. I mean, it's something that we can definitely bring up. We've done some customizing wheel packs and stuff in the past, but I think leaning into the racing stuff would be pretty cool.
Yeah. Just the, customizing stuff in general. It's always great to have more wheel kits. And I know you have some wheel kits that have been released, like you said, in the recent past, but, you know, a lot of people don't know that you offer those sorts of things. You have them for the model kits especially are very well known, but there are some that are for the 164 guys as well. And speaking of the downhill guys, isn't like the head of the Rhode Island Racing, isn't his name on that MGB that you guys came out with a few years back?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, his name is Jeremy Morin. So,
that's right.
I believe, that was what Mike put his name on there, and I don't think he even told him he was going to do it. He kind of surprised
Sneaky
him with
Mike.
it.
Well,
yeah. We've called them out on our packaging before. For the Lincoln Johnny Lightning Club and all of that. And I think he put hard tires on that one as well, so that
it does have hard tires on it. Yeah, because I have that one, and it's a great casting. It's and I don't want to pick it up because I like getting the ones with the little shouts on. I'm still trying to get a Champion DJK van because they had that Chevy van that came out a little while ago that had the little bumper stickers that
Chevy,
the black Chevy van, and he was like, even I have a hard time getting that one because,
we
didn't
tell him we were doing that either. Yeah. And then, he actually came to visit us, on his way out to one of the diecast shows. I think he was headed to Ohio or something, cause he's from Appleton, Wisconsin, which is like 3-4 hours from us. But he actually came by and stopped by the office, and I believe Mike gave him like the original printout of the illustration that he did for that van.
Awesome.
And gave him one for it. But yeah, it was, we like to do that with the, some of the people that support us, and throw little nods in here or there, or show, just give thanks to everybody who reps our brand or collects Johnny Lightning or Auto World.
I can't wait for the Diecast Breakdown one. I've heard great things about it.
Well,
you never know.
Maybe it'll have to be a project in progress. Maybe something that's broke down.
So,
like a Saturn.
Broke down. It'll be like a Dodge Caravan or something like that with green on the side of it. And
that would never sell.
Yeah, those caravans, man, they have been really hard to come by. Like I was able to pick up a couple of them. They're finally starting to become more available. But man, those things were hot when they came out. Like we got a lot of people commenting on them, a lot of people saying they really wanted to get them, including us.
Cool, man.
As well, but it's cool, and I'm glad to see that you guys are, that line is trickling out more and more as you're introducing the later years. You started with like the 84 Caravan, and you're moving on to the Voyager and some of the other
while
stuff.
You're talking, I'm going to show some of their new castings while you're talking.
Yeah, That
So keep on
300
talking, Chuck.
ZX
Look at that, it's a
is
ZX.
I
very
love that.
cool.
Absolutely.
Is that a new casting? I thought that was an older casting.
No, it is. It's a new one. Look on the card.
Yeah, that one. I think last year it came out.
So,
Oh, okay.
can I ask a question?
We tooled that.
Chad, did you fix the rear wheel well on that? It seemed like it had a
On
really
the
had like
the 280s ZX had a large rear wheel.
like the arch was a little bit.
But they
Yeah,
kind
on the-
of do.
on the Datsun
like,
280 ZX.
Do they?
That
They kinda
was
do.
something that was an earlier Johnny Lightning casting that had that big wheel arch. For that, it still has the larger wheel arches because really the only way to fix that would be a whole new body.
Right.
Sometimes what I've done is I'll take bigger tires and put them on there
Yeah.
and like jack it up.
I mean,
or
I
whatever.
think still think it looks good.
Mm-hmm.
We did do. I can't remember if I told you guys in the last one, but we even sometimes will have some fun with those older castings.
You do
like
the
that,
4x4
like
ones.
Yeah, exactly, like the Roadrunner and
And the
some of that
Mustang.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, add the off-road tires.
Yeah, I love the Roadrunner one. That one is fantastic and very fun.
Oh, was that the Mustang? Is that what it was?
There was the Mustang, and then I forget what the Roadrunner was called, but the Mustang was very funny.
It was called Dirty Old Bird. Was what the Roadrunner.
Dirty Old Bird. That was it. Yeah, and you're right. Like that's the thing. A lot of people don't really think about is like you change one thing on these. These are solid blocks of die. These are dies. That's what they come from. You can't just like modify it this way or zhuzh it a little bit. You got to make a whole new die to make these things. And you did a really cool video not too long ago where you actually went back and showed some of these big toolings that, you know, where they're stored in the archives at Round 2. And, you know, they're not tiny things. Like they are big, huge pieces of metal that are used to make these things. So it's like a very involved process. If you want to change one little detail on something, like, for example, turn a 64 Barracuda into a 64, anyway.
Exactly. We have been trying a little more, you know, with things like the wheel wells, it's a little more difficult, but, we do go back sometimes and change things like front cores, or rear cores to do, other variations or other years, for some vehicles. And we also try to make sure that we don't paint ourselves into a corner, when we do stuff, like being careful about when we cast, when we might cast trim and when we might decide to paint trim just so we can get more out of the body. The stuff you can kind of get away with in 64 scale.
It's amazing what you guys got to think about, man. Like we would never know, like we would never guess all the forethought. And like to Chuck's point earlier, you got enough on your plate with the new stuff coming out, let alone go back and fix stuff that bothers you on the old ones. So kudos to y'all, man.
Yeah, we stay busy. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Mike Golak asked if the 2 and 4 pack Auto Worlds are going to be discontinued or if they're going to be coming back.
Oh, the Deluxe? Is he talking about the Deluxe packs?
I believe so for the 2 and 4 packs for Auto World.
Those are coming back. So we will have more of those coming back, and they'll expect some other news as far as the Deluxe.
Was he talking about was he talking about Auto World or Johnny Lightning?
He said Auto World specifically, so
yeah.
okay.
The Target exclusives, have the 2-pack and the 4-packs of those Deluxe castings, which are the plastic chassis, hard tires. So those are also great if you want to race because they do have the hard tires.
Sure.
We put those out as a Target exclusive, and they did incredibly well. So they seem like they've been pretty popular. So all I can tell you right now is just expect some more news for Deluxe.
Good to know. And those are very cool sets. I've only seen the 2-packs in stores. I did see the 4-packs once, but it was I was traveling somewhere and happened to be in a Target and they had the 4-packs, but the 2-packs are definitely very popular in our stores here in Florida.
They're great for kids. My buddy has a couple sons and they collect all kinds of, Hot Wheels and stuff like that. But if I want to give them something like a Johnny Lightning or an Auto World, well, the first thing they're going to do is take the tire off of it and lose it or feed it to the cat or whatever. So I love the Deluxe line for that. We were in Target the other day and I bought a set for his kids because I'm like, oh, they can play with these and it's a nice introduction to Auto World. And they have a little more playability to them rather than just necessarily just looking at.
Mm-hmm.
I found one of those 4-packs, and none of them had paint, Chad. So I thought they were errors. I left them.
Well, go ahead and send it back. We'll
refund my money. All right, I appreciate that.
All 4 of it. They didn't paint any of them.
None of them. It was weird.
No, that when the first couple people found those 4-packs with the Ultra Raws, like we were sitting with bated breath, like waiting for those to start showing up. So because that's a heck of a find on the.
So did y'all actually get word? Like, were people like shouting them out or reporting or posting pics or what?
Yeah, we saw some pics and found them and. Yeah.
Well, and you guys like to get clever with yours. When we were talking with Mike and Tony, they were talking about how they like to get sneaky with some of the white lightnings and some of the chases, and sometimes make like just little tiny details white just to make like sometimes it's very big and obvious, and you've got white tires and a white body with gold paint, and then sometimes it's like, oh, it just happens to be a white car, or the chassis is white or something.
Especially Mike, he's kind of a stinker when it comes to that. Switching it up on the collectors and having them actually try to search it out instead of just going to the peg and looking through real quick and finding the white one or whatever.
I had a Johnny Lightning question, because there was something I saw at Ollie's that I wasn't aware of. That they're actually like Johnny Lightning, like very, very small Johnny Lightnings, that they're like a little micro machine type thing sorry to use another brand, but that for lack of a better term, whatever they are.
Right.
Like, is that something that still exists, or was that just a discontinued line that's finding its way through Ollie's?
That was a line that Tomy actually put out, because back when Playing Mantis sold the name Johnny Lightning to RC2, and then Tomy owns the name Johnny Lightning. So we produce all the Johnny Lightning 1/64 scale under license with Tomy. So we manage that whole line, but those smaller ones, that was actually direct from Tomy. So Round 2 didn't make any of the smaller.
Yeah, I was curious about them, because I'm like, these have nothing to do with anything else that I've seen from Round 2. They're not licensed. They're not like, it's just it didn't feel like a Johnny Lightning thing though. So I was just like, what is going on with these? And I actually did find a white Lightning of one of those. There was a little white one in there, but
of the smaller one.
Of the smaller ones, I was like, oh, that's fun.
Yeah, they were getting stuck in people's nose, so they had to stop making them.
Speaking of Johnny Lightning, David Parker asked, he said, I love the satin finish on the Green Hornet Black Beauty. When can we see Britt Reid's Chrysler Imperial convertible companion car in a flippable dual pack? I guess he's talking like the Monkeys type thing that you guys just did with the 2-part or 2-piece things.
Oh, he's talking a Green Hornet convertible.
Yeah, I guess there was a companion car. I don't know. I didn't watch the series.
Yeah, that's not in the plan at the moment, because that would involve new tooling. But funny enough, Britt Reid is the Green Hornet. That's also my sister's name. So.
Oh, yeah. There you go. So, I was going to say, any relation there, but
no. Well, to my sister,
different
Green Hornet,
different Britt Reid.
We don't currently have that plan, but I'll give him a plug here. If he is a fan of model kits, the 1/25th scale Green Hornet is all new tooling. That's coming out. It'll be in my video in October. My October video. So it's really, really cool. And it's all new tooling, so it'll go together well, and it's got all kinds of cool gadgets and stuff on it. So if you want one in 1/25th scale, people have been clamoring for that.
This is not your grandpa's Green Hornet kit.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. Yeah. We had the 1/32nd scale, I think, Polar Lights kit for a while, but nobody had really done 1/25th, so we heard it a lot before we retooled it.
Don't touch that dial. Diecast Breakdown will be right back after these messages.
Hi, everybody. I'm Andrew from Maple Leaf Customs in Switzerland, encouraging you to catch the spirit of giving for the Diecast Day of Giving on October 14th, 23.
This presentation of Diecast Breakdown is brought to you by Twice Diecast and Dots and Man Diecast on YouTube. Please visit their links in the show notes and subscribe to their channels for more epic Diecast content.
Hey, this is Rodney with RD Custom Diecast and the Diecast Misfits. Last year, we knocked it out of the park with D-Dog, and we encourage each and every one of you to participate this year. Please join us.
And now, the thrilling conclusion of this week's episode of Diecast Breakdown.
Guys, do you think we've kept them in suspense long enough, the viewers? Should we have Chad show us some sneak peeks of stuff coming out?
Let's see what we are making. I'm going to start with I'll start with kind of the ones that we've shown that is a little bit of an update, but then I'll show you guys some stuff. That's going to be kind of first looks at some painted new tools.
Sweet.
But we did talk about a little bit, and I didn't know if we'd mentioned it before, but the Subarus that are coming out for Johnny Lightning, I just figured I'd showcase those real quick because this was one that I worked on developing the tooling for. So I figured if you had any questions, we could figure that one out. But this is a new tool that is Johnny Lightning 1/64 scale. Hang on. I think I got a trick here for the camera.
Look at that.
We're pulling out all the stops.
So that's what we did for this one is, again, we wanted to make sure that we could get a lot of life out of whatever we tool. So this was a great car to bring out. It does have opening hood, the boxer engine in it. Initially when we tooled this, we were going to change kind of the front core and do like 3 front cores and 2 rear cores to do a few different variations. We actually ended up doing 3 separate bodies, with a shared chassis, shared interior, shared engine. But we have the first one, which is the Bug Eye, the 2002, and then, we'll be bringing out the Blob Eye, which is like the 2005. Again, try to get it to, don't know if it'll focus or not, but,
so these are new castings and they'll be true 1/64, right?
Yep. So the bodies are true 1/64th for these. So that's the new, that's that new Blob Eye, as the Subaru guys call it. And then there is the Hawk Eye, which is the 0607, I believe.
I mean,
yeah, that's my favorite one. Hawkeye.
Everything.
Thing was, when we went to tool this, I have a lot of friends who are big Subaru guys, and we kind of were talking about, okay, what are the different variations that we can do? So we actually make sure to do all these spoilers separate. So I did a WRX spoiler and an STI spoiler. Those spoilers are shared through all 3 body styles. So not only can we do like a WRX, we can do a WRX version, STI version. And then on the Hawkeye, we can take the spoiler off and do like a STI limited. So pretty excited about those. We actually have several releases planned for.
Yeah, those are going to be a hit, Chad. I think y'all are.
Yeah, like when that Supra came out, that was a really great casting in Auto World. And you did the same thing. You had it so that you could do the turbo Supra, or you could have it be the more, the spoilerless, more stock looking Supra.
Yeah. And even Tony even did the Euro spec with the hood scoop, which I thought was really cool because I had really seen people do that in 1/64th. So one more to show you guys before we get into the bigger sneak peeks here. We have a new license that I was talking to Tony, he wanted to mention, and that is Petty's Garage.
Cool.
Oh,
so
nice.
These are 2015 Mustangs that were tuned by Richard Petty or Petty's Garage. These are coming out in I think it's 2024 release 1 of Auto World, I believe. So it's kind of that Petty blue color, black two-tone, and then the version B is another variation that was done by
Jason.
Cool.
Does it come with like crowd figurines?
Now you'll have to do that yourself. We like to keep our Ford licensing. So.
Hey,
That's all
they
I'm
know.
gonna say about that.
We'll be, we will be doing some 1/18 scale stuff too, similar to that. And then I'm going to show you guys one more that we were kind of talking about the trucks coming out. So this is the first look at a painted sample for our 2003 to 2007 Silverados.
Sweet.
So this will be in that release. I'll try my paper trick one more time.
Look at that.
There you go, the cat eye versions.
It's just kind of wild, like, for so long thinking about the square bodies as being like the classic truck, and then going, oh, well, look, that's a late model truck. No, that truck is 20 years old.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
The cat eyes are kind of coming around a little bit too.
Yeah.
We did this tooling similar. This is the version B is in dark green. But we did this tooling similar where it was,
Truck.
I even wrote it down on notes here. 4 different front cores, single cab and extended cab bodies, fleet side and step side beds, standard and lowered chassis variations, standard and power dome hoods. So
Z71.
yeah, there's all kinds. And then we do have this hobby exclusive coming out, which is a SS. So this is a look at the kind of extended cab.
Mm-hmm.
And then it has the SS like bumpers.
I'm not collecting trucks, guys. I'm not doing it. Like that is
it's gonna happen.
Slippery slope.
It's too much for you, anyways, David.
Yeah, but your monster truck shorts are what get you all those views, David.
Hey, what I do in my own business is between me and
no, we
you and your monster trucks.
We all notice. Okay.
Yeah.
We love monster trucks.
Before we interrupted Chad.
This last one is actually the one. Well, I'm personally the most excited about. I feel like you guys will love it too. But
we're gonna love it.
See. So this is a casting that Mike has been developing, and it's the first look at the painted sample for our first gen DSM. So this is the 1990 to 91 Mitsubishi Eclipse GSX.
Oh my gosh. All right. That is top of the list. When does that Joker come out, man?
This is in the same release. So it's 2024, release 1. So this first one's in silver. This is also, we actually tooled an aftermarket style wheel for this one, with the 6-spoke there. And of course has the, opening hood.
Do you know how many D-bags in my high school drove that car?
Did you drive one?
I didn't. I drove a Saturn, as you will probably guess. But that car, man, that is amazing, Chad. Look at that.
So that's an Eclipse?
Yeah, this is the Eclipse.
Are you sure that's not an Eagle?
His face right now.
Yeah, where's the Talon?
Yeah, where's the Eagle Talon?
Jinx.
No, this is the Eclipse, but we did tool the body for the Eagle Talon as well. So the Eagle Talon.
Sick.
Hey, hold it. We got to see it one more time. That's the first painted sample. Ooh, yeah, I like that. Ooh.
Yeah, Mike. These just came in this week, actually. So, I saw them sitting over there. So it was good timing for this. They really kind of took my breath away, and I see a lot of new tooling, coming out, but they really, really turned out awesome. So I like those wheels on them as well. Those wheels will be making an appearance sooner, with the 1982 Celica Supra, the Japanese classic car show event car. I put those wheels on that one to give it kind of a little more of a racer look to it. So
you'll have to, Chad, you got to talk Mark into driving down.
I was going to say, Mark, didn't you have one of those?
It's being stubborn.
No, I had the only DSM that I've had is the Evo 8 MR 06.
Okay.
So, but I haven't had
the Celica Supra though.
No. I had a Celica, but not the Supra. I had but I did have a Supra, but they're completely different cars.
Well,
Celica Supra is the chunky Mad Max one. Like, but I did have like a 84, 85 Celica GT, which is similar to Celica Supra, just doesn't have just has a 4-banger in it, the 4AGE and, or the 22RA, excuse me. But yeah, I had an 88 turbo Supra that I had for 10 years. So
yeah, those, I've always liked those. That's the 3rd gen, right? 88.
Yeah. MK3. Mine had a 1JZ in it, single turbo, just a lot of money into it, 400 wheel horse. It rock and roll.
Yeah. I mean, we could get Mark down for the show, but I'd rather get him down to help me get my Datsun running. So
man.
Yeah, I'll be like the foreman. I'll hold tools and I'll tell you that you're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
You can make your paint.
Can you polish all the way through the Bondo for me?
Yeah, I can do anything.
On a long enough timeline.
Burn right through it. Just get the rotary out.
Yeah, we'd be set.
Well, thank you, Chad, for that. That was super cool of you to do that.
Yeah, we'll be doing. We'll be kind of sneaking those here. Also in the next coming week.
Tell people real quick where round 2 will be in some upcoming shows. So maybe they'll be in the area and they could pop by a booth.
Yeah. Well, I know that a lot of the guys at round 2 will be at New York Toy Fair, which is mostly kind of business to business. But I know we're doing a lot at New York Toy Fair. We will also be at Muscle Car and Corvette Nationals in November in Chicago, right?
Ooh, if the New Balance is out.
Yeah. So,
David.
there will be, yeah, there'll be some, but, well, if you, Peter Brock will be there. This year as well. So there you go. There'll be some Datsun influence there for you.
Peter Brock will be there.
That is
a pair of jean shorts.
That is an amazing show. If you're just any type of car lover, I've always liked going to that show just for, they call it like the Pebble Beach of muscle cars. Like the stuff you see there is all like it'll be a, Pontiac Trans Am convertible that's like one of 8 that were ever made, and cars that a prototype GT40 or like the bullet car was there one year when I was there. It's really cool historical. Yeah, it's like
where you can't even look at it, David. If you go there, like, don't even look at this. It's here, but put this blindfold on. Don't even look at it.
Smell it.
Smell my diecast. Smell my real cars too.
That real leather.
Chuck, it always make too easy.
Write it in, Ellis.
Yes. Well, all right. Well, we have had a delight again having Chad sit down with us. Thank you again for being here, giving us some sneak peeks on stuff. Again, shout out to everybody who asked questions. I will answer this for you. No, Chad will not make a Toyota Paseo for you. I'm sorry.
Why not?
I mean,
is that Rico Bobby?
Rico always has everybody we have on. He's like, have him make a 97 Toyota Paseo. And I'm like, I mean, sure.
We got to make that. We got to get that guy's dreams come true.
And Dane, supporter of the show, so I will ask. He asks once again for a 64 Ford Falcon in 164 scale, which you guys have a Ford Falcon, but I don't believe it's in the
your burner account.
Exactly. No, that's a Valiant 64 Valiant. Very different cars.
You have the same cars.
How many Saturn requests were in the comments?
About 74.
Yeah.
From you. From David Jones.
Yeah, from David.
They were all from a guy named David's John.
Yeah.
No,
John David,
John David.
Who's Darnell Jones?
JD.
No, we've discussed before. David
and
I are kindred spirits because I tricked out a Saturn L200 when I was 19.
I think that's when you and I stopped talking. At that point,
you found that out.
He was like, "Oh, Saturn."
Yeah.
Did that hurt your heart, Mark?
Yeah.
So, with those in mind, let's answer the question that everybody's really asking, which is, how do I petition you to get a car made? What's the best way to go about doing that?
There are people who tell us in all of our comments. There's some things that we hear. If we start hearing it a lot, then we'll start thinking about what's the what are the cars that people want. So of course, commenting, we say it all the time, but we do read them. You can comment on our YouTube pages. You can reach out to us. But I think the big thing is if it's something that other people like too. So, if they're supporting, if it's something that we continually hear, I mean, there's a lot of one-offs and stuff like that.
Sure.
You have to sell a lot of cars to stay in business as a diecast company, so we can't make every little car, but we like to do the quirky stuff and the niche stuff,
sure.
Especially.
Was the Caravan a petitioned one, or was that just something where you guys all just decided because it was such a popular thing?
I think that one was one that we kind of decided on. I believe that initially was Tom's idea. That Tom Lowe wanted to do the Caravan, but it is such a big. We had a feeling it was going to do decent, but it definitely was a bigger success than I think we initially.
Sure, because it's just such an out of left field thing. Because it's something that nobody thinks to do, but then it was something that was such an essential part of
most people,
so many Gen Xers and millennials' lives.
Yeah, and that's kind of part of where we're sort of at with Auto World, or how Auto World's kind of always been is. We try to do some of the niche stuff, or we try to find a little bit where there's a hole in the market.
Sure.
We've been doing
Buick Estate wagons.
Buick Estate wagons, do all kinds of, weird little, we did a lot of Cadillacs, a lot of those like bigger bodied cars, have done really well for us. And even things like doing the Starion, doing the first gen
Yeah.
Eclipse, which is a car that everybody loved, but you hadn't really seen it done well in 1/64 scale.
Sure. Not. Nope.
So we do try to find that stuff, that the cars that we remember really enjoying, that we feel are underrepresented, and kind of filling some of those niches that people haven't found yet, rather than just putting out the same car that everybody else is putting out.
Very cool.
Fair enough.
So you heard it, folks. Keep the comments coming. And Chad, remind the folks where they can find you, follow you, all that good stuff, and send those comments in.
Yeah, if you're on Instagram and you're a diecast guy, you can find us at Auto World Diecast or Johnny Lightning Diecast on Instagram. Round 2 models if you're a model kit guy. On YouTube, it's kind of all the brands together. The channel is Round 2 for you. We have round2corp.com, which is our main website. And if you're looking for somewhere to purchase stuff, autoworldstore.com is our customer-facing hobby store, online hobby store. So, and there's a lot of neat stuff going on there as well. So.
I got a White Lightning actually ordering from the Auto World store.
Can't do that. That's cheating.
It's all random. They're all randomly inserted. If you buy a 6-pack, they're always sealed. But yeah, the cars are randomly done, and I don't fill the orders, so the person in the warehouse didn't know who, unless they watched Diecast Breakdown.
I don't know, because it was like we had just talked about the Ford Motorsport Ranger that you did the artwork on, and I was like, oh, well, I want to get that, so I went on there and I bought it, and then I got the White Lightning version, which is actually a very, very rare White Lightning car. Like, that one's actually quite sought after. So I've got it up on the shelf now, but I didn't. It's I'm an opener. Like, I open my cars. That's the one I'm not opening, because I'm just like, holy cow! It's one of our guests on the shows, and it's his White Lightning. How amazing is that? And I got it from ordering from your store. I customized it. I took all the paint off of it.
You have to swap the tires off.
Exactly.
He painted it red, just to,
painted it red.
Like,
just
the white
house paint.
Exactly. I wanted it to look like the one on the box.
Ultra Red Lightning.
All right. Well, thank you again, Chad, for being here. And thank you for making it to the end of another episode of Diecast Breakdown. Again, big shout out to our patrons who make this show go. If you want to know more about that, you can visit diecastbreakdown.com. And if you're enjoying this show, please make sure you like, subscribe, ring the bell, share it with your friends, post it in your Facebook groups, because we can't do it ourselves because they keep asking us to stop. But that's a really great way to help the show grow, is share it around and, post them around town. And while we're at it, shout out to drivendreams.org and to Chad and the folks at Round 2 who are joining us in helping support that and get the word out. So props to Round 2 and the other great brands that are helping us out and raising 20,000 cars for kids in need all around the world. You can find out more about that at drivendreams.org. And again, thank you so much for being here today. We'll see you again real soon. Stay fresh, cheese bags.
Thanks for listening to Diecast Breakdown. If you enjoyed today's show, please rate us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts and tell a friend to listen in. Find Diecast Breakdown on your favorite social media platforms or visit diecastmedianetwork.com to learn more about this and our other projects. Diecast Breakdown is a presentation of Flying Valiant and the Diecast Media Network.